You know, people realize, like, you know, why do guys become gangsters? They like the adrenaline. Why do guys become cops? They like the adrenaline. Why do guys become firemen? Adrenaline. These are career choices that are exciting. Even though they're dangerous, they're exciting. So you wake up alive. You feel that oxygen going through your body. We don't know anything but that. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I just changed the way I run my adrenaline. Hey, I'm John Alite. I'm an ex-enforcer for the Gambino family, and I loved hijacking. I got a thrill out of it. We had some people in DHL at the airport. First, we'd ask our guy on the dock, what has he got on there? And we'd ask him about the personality of the driver picking it up. Sometimes he knows, sometimes he doesn't know, sometimes he say it might be this guy. And as he pulls out, we follow him and we pick a spot where we think is the best spot to grab him. We don't want to screw it up, we want to get our money. So we know that if we screw it up, there goes the payday. So we want to get him at a right location. We would steal unmarked police cars. And that's always the way we'd stop everybody, is with a police car. So we put the cherry on the car as if we're police and we're pulling them over. I look like a young kid. But a lot of times these guys used to think, well, they're just undercover guys, so they think, oh, he's a kid, you know, undercover, and that's the part you play. You got the baseball hat on backwards. We put chains around the neck with the police badge. We never wore a mask. I never wore a mask, ever, anywhere. It's like anything else. You get into a fight, you get into an argument, you have that fear adrenaline. And it's a good adrenaline. You could control it or you don't control it. And if you're used to doing what we're doing, we control it. And it just hypes you up. You got all your senses, and you're looking around, and you're 360, and you just got all your senses really moving, and that's what the adrenaline does for you. So it works in your favor, because you're paying attention to everything around you. Your head's on a swivel. And once we pull the guy, we don't pull the guns out. And usually what we do is, if we got a shirt over it, we'll just lift our shirt, or if we have a jacket, we open it. And tell him, relax, we're not trying to hurt you, we're gonna give you a couple of bucks. Don't give us a hard time, nobody wants to hurt you, nobody wants to clip you in the leg. We wouldn't say you're gonna shoot you in the head, we're not. You tell them, listen, don't make us clip you in the leg. This is either way, you're giving up the truck. I don't even remember or recall anybody ever giving us a hard time on these. They're regular guys, so some of them are like, oh, come on, you fucking guys kidding me? Come on, man, pick another truck. You know, they'll give you the cry. Some of them like, I don't give a shit, take what you want. What are you giving me? You know, so it was different reactions, but most of these guys are kind of like, you know, neighborhood street guys, so they don't give a shit themselves. They're in t-shirts, they know the deal, they know what the job is. They're not trying to be heroes, they could give a shit whose company it is. It's not like you're robbing them. For the most part, no, they're all right. You know, you might get one or two assholes that are, you know, trying to talk stupid to you, and you would tell them, what are you, an idiot? This is what are you making trouble? What are you trying to do, make us hurt you? We don't want to hurt you. Get the out of the way and shut the up and, you know, turn around so we can tie you up real quick, you jerk off, you know. But overall, the guys were compliant. They didn't give two. Some of them would say, thanks, I wanted the day off anyway, you know. So you get that. You get guys like, hey, that's all you're going to give me? You know, you give 200. It depends on what we had on us. We might have been broke that week. And you give the guy a bullshit 100 or 200. He's like, are you kidding me? That's all you're going to give me? I said, you fucking know. We joke with them too. We fucking nuts. We're robbing you. You're making negotiations with us. So I went on my first hijack, and a friend of mine comes to my house and says, you want to go to Kennedy Airport with me? I said, well, we got to pick somebody up. He says, no, I got an 18-wheeler. I said, where? He says, down the block. I says, how are we going to do that? He says, I did it a couple of times before I got a guy on the docks. They gave me the manifest, and we know what we got on the load. We got a bunch of clothes. I said, good stuff? He says, yeah, good stuff. So I jump in the 18-wheeler with him, and on the way down, we're going to pick up two more guys. So we pick up the other two guys, and we head down to Kennedy Airport. We had a couple different drivers, but one of them, this guy Rick, he was a big, bulky guy. So he looked the part. He looked like a truck driver. He used to drive tow trucks. He drove the thing. So he did look the part. Me, I look like a kid. I had my hat on backwards. You know, I just look like a regular kid helper, I guess, for a truck driver. And, you know, we'd have sandwiches up on the counter of the truck and drinks. And, you know, you honestly were very relaxed because we're used to doing a lot of things that are a lot worse than this. Heist and violence and drug dealing. So this was kind of a simple thing for us. We'd be joking around the whole time. And I had my feet up on the counter of the truck. And We pull up. Emotionally, when you're first pulling in to get this load, your adrenaline's always kicking because you're thinking, how much money am I going to make today? We're always calculating, what do you think the load's worth? Is it, 700,000? What are we going to get? Is it 600,000? And it's like Christmas time. In the 80s, even now, there's not the security that people think. When you pull in, there is a security guard, whoever's driving the truck, has to show them the paperwork, the manifest. They look at it. There's one guy in the booth, as I recall. There wasn't anybody besides that with the arm that allows you to come in. They press a button, and you come in with the truck. They call to the dock to verify that you're there to pick up a load. And it's so much activity that it's very hard for them to understand or control and talk to the right person. So when the security is calling them, they're just guys that are making, who knows, they're not making big money, so they're not overly concerned. It's just every day it's the same routine. Truck after truck pulls in, van after van pulls in. Nobody's looking to scrutinize who's coming in. Driver gets up and he tells them, I'm here with the paperwork to pick this load up. We were tight on time. I think we were about an hour or an hour and a half before the real truck comes. So he's got to push guys, and they start getting on trucks, and they're putting the pallets on our 18-wheeler. By the time they fill it up, they ran a little over, and they were having trouble with the equipment. I don't remember exactly, but when we see another truck coming in as we're pulling out, we're laughing. We're just like, oh, son of a bitch, he ain't getting his stuff today, And listen, we joke a lot, and I guess if it was a movie or something, everybody's real serious and nervous. It's not like that. We have an old couple that used to take everything that we took from these trucks, and we dumped it with them, and they would give us about 20 cents on a dollar. So if we pick up $500,000, do the math, we get about 100 grand, and it was good money, and we'd split it between 4 or 5 of us.
Who's this old couple? It's like, I'm imagining like a grandparent.
Yeah, they were actually, back then we're young, so I'd say they were in their 60s somewhere. Street guy, his wife was like real street, the same thing. They were a good couple. They were like a Bonnie and Clyde, so, and they were cool with it. They just pull it up, put it in the driveway, and we'd start unloading fast and take the trucks, and we'd dump it, and that was it. We'd leave him everything, and whatever way he maneuvered that from there was on him. Afterwards, we're talking about where we're going to go after we get our money. We're going to go shopping. We used to go to the store up in Queen Center Mall afterwards. We'd buy all kinds of clothes, and we'd buy like radio equipment for our cars and different things, and we'd start shopping. We're all poor. We come from Jamaica having no money. So we didn't have a concept of money. So when we made this kind of money, we just spent it like animals. Like it was just playtime. So, we look forward to these scores, and as we keep getting older and we're making these scores bigger and bigger, we start realizing that we're looking at big money now. We start out as kids making money, and then you start developing and finding out where the better stuff is, where in the docks we're making better connections, we're hitting the guy off to get us better stuff. That's why I said we loved hijacking these trucks, because it was very easy. One occasion we got Wigs. We're young guys, and we didn't know that Wigs was big money. So we were so disgusted that we got the Wigs, and we didn't sell it right. So when we got the Wigs, we were like, oh, this effing garbage. What the hell did we get? We're all disgusted. Years later, we find out Wigs was big money. So we really screwed ourselves. Probably one of the biggest scores we got at the airport were the Wigs. And we were just clueless. This is the naive we were as young guys. Back in those days, no one really bucks you. Not like doing it today. If you gave a guy $300-400 back then, it's big money. I don't even recall anybody ever questioning us. Anybody ever questioned our guy in the docks. I mean, nothing. It was just, I guess, these companies were making so much money. It was just an insurance loss. And in the 80s was a different era. I don't know how they didn't care about it, but they basically didn't care about it. And they didn't make a big deal about it because we did this for years. This wasn't something that just started and stopped. And you would think they would have a sting operation or something put together after a while, because you got to remember, we're not the only ones doing this. Our neighborhood, I don't know how many guys were doing it. We didn't do it together, but we knew other guys, other friends of ours were doing it. And we joke, we'd be in a bar or something, and we'd say, what'd you get? And they're like, get the out of here, you got that? Because we didn't get it. We missed it, and we would discuss what they got, what we got. Hey, maybe we'll do something together, and we talk that. That's the shop talk. You know, we're drinking beer, and then we talk about what we're going to do next and how we can find out what they get, and maybe we can use each other. And those conversations and that rush is some of the things we did. I talk about some people jump out of airplanes. We did this. The armored car story is a classic, actually. So I don't think that anything in anybody's life really could come to this story because it's funny. It was crazy adrenaline. The night before, a friend of mine calls me up and he says, hey, I got a guy that does 10 stores in Long Island. And he says the driver of the store is quitting and he's got a guy that's taking over the route. And this is gonna be his first weekend. It's perfect. The guy got a gun. He goes, yeah, he's got a gun, but he ain't never gonna use it. The guy's a soft guy. They never did this. He's nervous. He was asking my friend all these questions. So I said, all right, show me the stores. So we take a ride and he's showing me the route. You know, and we know the route from his friend. It's supposed to be anywhere from $1.5 million after they collected. And then again, I'm talking about, this is early 90s. So I call a buddy of mine who steals cars. These guys that rob cars would keep cars in the neighborhood. They keep them all over the place if we needed them for a score, for a shooting. So they'd have cars dumped in different areas. So he gets me to call like 3-4 days beforehand. It was an unmarked police car. And I put it in one of the garages, and I call my friend Mike up, and I say, hey, Mike, go get us the police hats, shirts. And I go to a detective that works with me, and I tell him, get me your badge and get me another badge. And, you know, we put them around our necks. We have already prearranged a legit car outside a diner. So after we do the score, we're gonna switch cars, so the car's already there. And we start following the van. He goes to one store, he goes to a second store. The guy Mike's driving. I think we were on like the 9th or 10th store. And he's running a little late, the guy, because he's new and he's slow, and he starts speeding on the Southern State Parkway. So I look at Mike, I go, get him now, he's speeding. He goes, why don't we just wait? I go, what the fuck's the difference? He's speeding, just fucking get him now. So he goes, all right, fuck it. And I take the cherry and I put the siren on top of the car. Whoop, 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 whoop. At first, he's not pulling over. Finally, the dummy pulls over. So it gave me a good excuse. So I leave Mike in the car, I go, I'll be right back. And I walk up to him and I start abusing him right away. Don't you see us following you, pull you over? Why didn't you pull over? I go, give me a license registration. So he's all nervous. He goes, you know, officer, I just started the job. I go, listen, shut up, keep your hands on the wheel. So he's got his hands on the wheel. And I take his license and I walk it back to Mike as if we're running his identification. Now, after I walk it there, I forget to take it and bring it back with me. So I go back to his car and I said, step out of your motor vehicle. And he says, for what? I said, get the out of the car. Now you do the usual, because, you know, we're getting pulled over all the time. Do you have any weapons on you? Because I know he's got a weapon. And he starts telling me, it's my first day on the job. What did I do wrong? And I says, turn around, put your hands on the van. And I'm patting him down. And I says, you're under arrest. And he's panicking. I go, listen, shut up. Put your arm behind your back. And I'm starting to cuff him. As I'm starting to cuff him, I hear on a microphone behind me, officer, what's going on? A regular cop car pulls up, and he's behind Mike's car. I'm saying to myself, oh, what the am I gonna do? And I just gave him 1 second, and I turned back away from him. Now, if I didn't have Mike in the car, I could have just darted across the highway right there, but I couldn't leave him. So I had to get him out. So when I first told the kid in the van, just go, the stubborn bastard wanted his license. I said, you want to get locked up? We got another call. Get the in the thing, we'll mail it to you. But I need my license. I says, you want to go to jail? And I'm arguing with him a little bit. Finally, I got the idiot to leave. Good thing he left. And then as I'm walking back to Mike, I'm saying, I got to get him out of here because Mike's got a gun in the car. I don't have any gun. And I'm taking stuff out and I'm throwing it to Mike, paraphernalia, the wallet, and the badge itself I can't get out. I think it was around my neck. I couldn't get it out without him saying. Because the charges really, if they would have got us at the time, they got us impersonating a police officer, hijacking, armed attempted robbery. I don't know what other jacked up charges they can get us on, but they could get us on a lot of charges. Then you're facing a good 25 years. So I go, Mike, get the out of here, just pull out. I'm gonna walk it right towards the middle of his car. All our charges are with him because he has everything. So he pulls out. Now the cops get antsy. He's putting his head out the window. What's going on? And I'm like, 1 second. And I'm trying to stall, and I'm walking over to him. And I go, hey, how you doing, officer? And I gave him some name, and I said, I'm a cop in Queens. And I walked around to his passenger side. As I'm walking, I took the badge and I threw it in the weeds. So now I don't have it. I'm thinking to myself, all right, he's got no car. He's got no victim. And he goes, what's going on? I says, I was on the other side of the parkway heading south, because we're heading northbound where we pull him over. And I said, how the am I going to do here? I'm trying to think to myself. And I gave him some crazy story. This guy cut me off, and I had my wife and kids in the car. And this other guy pulled over, and the van was the one that chased him. And he's trying to follow me, and he goes, well, where's your wife and kids now? And I said, they're on the other side. Just, can you give me a ride over? He goes, yeah, get in. So I get in, and he starts driving me around the other side. But you got to go a little bit to get off the exit to swing back around. And he starts asking me a lot of questions. And now he's starting to realize something's wrong. He's asking me, who was the other cop? I says, I don't know. He was just a guy that pulled over to help us. And he goes, who's the van? I didn't remember if I told him the van is who cut us off or somebody else cut us off and the van jumped in to help us. And he's starting to see like I'm getting caught at some of the conversation. And my mind, it's like a locomotive's going through your head, like, and everything's loud. I handled it because I was calm. I'm experienced at this time. If this was 10 years earlier, I probably would have got locked up and fucked up about it. But I've been doing so many scores, so many different things. I'm so seasoned in the street. I'm used to thinking on my feet. I don't panic. I'm very relaxed. And as he's pulling up by the grass, he goes, well, go pull over right here. They were right here. And he's probably, 300, 400, 500 feet from the exit. When he's not completely stopped, I just jump out and I start running. And now the guy says, oh, this motherfucker. He's racing his car, like cutting in front of me as I'm running. And I skirt behind him and I run across the highway. In between traffic's flying 60, 70 miles an hour. Now I'm on the other side. He gets back in his car and he gets off the exit and he's got his lights on. Now I know I'm in trouble because he's calling it in now. He's giving a description of me, he's calling it in. And as soon as he exits off, he's so he thinks I'm running across. I double back and I run down and I get into a store and I start buying new clothes real quick. I buy a hat, I buy a sweatshirt, I buy some other bullshit. I call a taxi and I get a taxi to take me to the diner where Mike is. So Mike's in the diner, I come walking in, you can see he's nervous. He never did anything like this before. So he's petrified. I says, you got the other car? Did you dump that car where I told you? He goes, yeah. I says, good, everything's gone, you don't have nothing on? No. I says, all right, I'll go relax. Even if they get us now, they ain't got nothing. They got no gun, they got no equipment, they don't got the police car. So we get in the car and I go, you know what? Leave the car, let's go back in the diner. I says, because they're gonna block these highways off. So we stay 3, 4, 5 hours and we're trying to listen to the scanners. We got the scanner, we're trying to hear if they're blocking the highways or they're stopping cars or whatever. But after it gets dark, I guess it was about 8 o'clock at night, something like that, we finally make the move and we get in the car. And here's where your heart's really pumping, because you're not sure. Did they block everything off? How serious are they taking this? And then I started laughing, and he says, what are you laughing at, you sick bastard? He says, this guy's going back to the precinct. Everybody's gonna abuse him. He gave me a ride to the other side of the highway. I always think, that cop, if he listens to this, I'd love to hear from him. I hope he contacts us and says, because it had to be the craziest thing he's ever done. Adrenaline. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I just changed the way I run my adrenaline. And, I say a lot, join a bowling team to guys that want to be on the street. Do something competitive, because it's the competition. A lot of people like jumping out of a plane. I'm scared of heights. I ain't doing that. Is a good example is you get a boxer, he goes in the ring, and his breathing, he could stay in the ring for, 15 rounds. Guy's in great shape, no trouble. But then you get an Olympic swimmer. He's great with breathing because he's in the water and he's an Olympic swimmer, distance swimmer. His breathing's controlled, it's great. But if you put that swimmer in a boxing ring where he's not comfortable, all of a sudden he can't breathe because you're not controlling your adrenaline. And so it depends on, are you able to control it for what you're doing? So what are you gonna do for, adrenaline junkie? You gotta do things that are excitement, so you change your excitement to legitimate stuff now. And, whatever that may be, sports, competition. I play a lot of handball, any of that stuff is competitive, so it's adrenaline. You know, people realize, like, you know, why do guys become gangsters? They like the adrenaline. Why do guys become cops? They like the adrenaline. Why do guys become firemen? Adrenaline. These are career choices that are exciting. Even though they're dangerous, they're exciting. So you wake up alive. You feel that oxygen going through your body. And then the idea that you're not really robbing anybody. You know, those aren't crimes where you're robbing some poor guy that owns a store and you're coming in with a gun and you're robbing his livelihood. So publicly, people are okay with it. My neighbors were okay with it. They all like, he ain't doing nothing wrong. Well, like when I was a kid, we used to rob the parking meters, and they used to help me and tell me how to do it. So I do it because they don't want the meters. They don't want to have to pay for parking in front of the houses. So I started learning at a young age what's acceptable, what isn't, what's a crime against an individual, what's a crime against the government. Crimes against the government, everybody's okay with, you know, so. And you start understanding the difference, and, you know, and that's where your moral bound and your line is, where to cross and where you can't cross.